Hey, everyone. We're going to get started in just a second. No matter if you're watching on Zoom or if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, we will get started here in just a few moments. Thanks for attending our Wealth Defense Masterclass. We have a lot of great information to share with you. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started because I always want to be respectful of your time because I understand how precious your time is. But again, my name is Amelia Thomas. I am your host. It's so good to be with you tonight. And again, just due to um, many of the changes, the volatile changes that we are experiencing as a nation, as a country, as a people right now, it is time that we actually go on the defense a little bit so we can play on the offense. And as I go through the masterclass tonight, you'll understand a little bit more about why I phrase it in that manner. But if you are in the position to build wealth, you are working on building wealth, you're working on leaving a legacy, you are working towards, building a future that actually creates freedom. Type freedom down in the comments for me. Please let me know. Also, if you know other people who should be in this masterclass right now, learning the secrets of the 1%, please share this. You should be able to share from Instagram, from YouTube, and from Facebook. If you're on Zoom, share the link, attendthemasterclass.com so they can register, they can get the bonuses, and they can get into the Zoom room. But again, before we get started, I have to read a disclaimer to you. The disclaimer is this information provided is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Viewers should not act on the basis of any of this content without seeking the advice of an appropriate professional. This statement does not create a client advisor relationship. Please consult with your own financial, tax, or legal advisor for advice tailored to your individual circumstances. Now, in this particular presentation today, if you're watching on Zoom, okay, that means you register at www.attendthemasterclass. You're watching on Zoom. That means you are eligible for some highly curated bonuses, okay? These highly curated bonuses include the Secrets of the 1% resource guide, the accredited investor checklist. If you've never heard me speak about being an accredited investor, you are in for a treat. I believe every American, no matter if they work for someone or not, should strive to be an accredited investor. We also have created and curated a private accredited investor training on the school platform. So if you're not on the email list, hop on the email list, register for one of the master classes so you can get these bonuses and so you can figure out how to add that zero to your net worth, because our entire masterclass tonight is going to be focusing on adding a zero to your net worth. Now, if you are watching, I promise not to waste your time, okay? I do not like when people waste my time, so I'm not going to waste yours. However, I also have another promise, and that is that you're going to walk away from this presentation with something you did not know, something that can add a zero to your net worth. Okay? And if you want to add a zero to your net worth, type zero down in the comments. It can be the word spelled out, it can be the number zero, but type zero down into the comments and just let me know who's out there that wants to add a zero to their net worth. If you're on this presentation right now, that means you have a goal of at least a $1 million net worth, which is one of the benchmarks to becoming a accredited investor. So I promise that I'm going to give you and share some information with you to add this zero to your net worth. And if you have questions, if you're on Zoom, I will be able to see the questions and answer those live tonight. That is one of the benefits for registering. Not only do you get the bonuses, but you get me in real time, right? I will be able to answer those questions tonight. so you can actually have those answers and get started on your wealth journey. If you're watching this live, maybe you're watching this on Facebook, Instagram, maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Be sure to put the questions down into the comments. We do go around and collect these questions, and I answer them throughout the week in our school community. So you can put them there, or if you're in our school community, which is completely free, you can go into the school community, find the thread for the Wealth Defense Masterclass, and you can also ask your questions there, and I answer those questions throughout the week. Now, I alluded to this a little bit earlier, but many of you may be wondering why now? Why are you doing this right now? Well, I have been in the wealth management industry for almost 2 decades now, and I have seen quite a bit in terms of market turnover, changes, volatility. At this point, being just a little bit north of 40, I've seen a lot in my 4 decades on this earth. And so, what we are experiencing now, and I'm going to use a term that is definitely overused at this point, but guess what? It is what it is, and that is we are in a unprecedented time. The velocity and the volatility of the changes that we are experiencing right now due to policy changes of the current presidential administration has everyone on edge. Everyone on edge. Even those who voted for the current presidential administration, they are also on edge, and rightfully so. Even if you have not been immediately impacted, there is a such thing as a trickle down effect, and it will eventually trickle down to you. No one, unless you are uber wealthy, is going to get out of this unscathed. But again, in this masterclass, we are showing you how to not only survive, but to thrive in times of economic and political uncertainty. And the time is now. You don't have any time to waste. You need to take the information that I'm sharing with you tonight, and you need to make sure that you get that implemented. Make sure you get it implemented. There is no additional time to waste. We have to move forward. We have to move quickly, and we have to focus on how are we going to, again, not only survive but thrive over these next 4 years. Now, you may be wondering who I am. Again, my name is Amelia Thomas. I am the managing partner of Empire Capital Ventures. Empire Capital Ventures is a wealth management firm. It is a firm dedicated to helping 7 and 8 figure business owners generate 9 figures in wealth through advanced tax planning and wealth management. I'm also the founder of The Secrets of the 1%. The Secrets of the 1% is a education and training consulting firm dedicated to helping everyday Americans, especially business owners and real estate investors, achieve the wealth secrets of the 1%. I have a bachelor's in finance from Alabama State University. I have a master's in financial planning from Kansas State. And at the height of my corporate career, I had a total of 12 licenses. Now, those licenses gave me the ability to do a number of things. They gave me the ability to not only sell stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, but they also gave me the ability to supervise other wealth professionals, as well as supervise and participate in the due diligence of private equity and pre IPO deals. So, got a little bit of experience there. I know a little something that has been helping my clients over the past 9 years in our current wealth management firm. Now, our team, we have a amazing team of people. Okay, we have 16 team members. We cover just about all of the alphabet: CPAs, CFPs, EAs, you name it, PMs, wealth managers, admins, you name it. 91% of our clients are US based. The other 9% either have a significant international exposure in terms of real estate holdings or business ventures outside the US, or they are international themselves. Our team makeup, these are just some of the ladies that's just kind of working behind the scenes, helping me do some of this work that I do on a daily basis. So if you see them down in the comments, helping to keep me in order, please say hello. Thank them for their service because they work really, really hard to make sure that we are always delivering for our clients. Now, here under the Wealth Defense Masterclass and under the Secrets of the 1% umbrella, I need you to understand that you have some rights. Yes, you have some rights as an American, but you also have some rights to being a millionaire. And I want to take a few moments to tell you what those rights are in case no one else has ever told you what your rights are here in the US of A. And that is you have the right to financial education. You have the right to access clear, actionable, advanced financial knowledge that empowers you to make informed decisions for your wealth journey. You have the right to build generational wealth. You have the right to create, grow, and preserve wealth for you and your family and future generations, breaking the cycle of financial scarcity. You have the right to minimize taxes legally. You have the right to leverage every legal tax strategy available to you, ensuring your hard earned income stays in your hands to fund your legacy. You have the right to become an accredited investor. You have the right to unlock exclusive opportunities in the private equity pre IPO deals in alternative investment space, leveling the playing field for the wealthy elite. You have the right to financial self sufficiency. You have the right to control your financial destiny without relying on employers, governments, or systems designed to limit your potential. You have the right to asset protection. You have the right to safeguard your assets from unnecessary risks, liabilities, and legal threats through strategic planning. You have the right to use your wealth and assets as leverage to secure capital for business growth, real estate investments, and other ventures. You have the right to advance wealth strategies. You have the right to utilize the same wealth building frameworks, tools, and strategies as the top 1%, regardless of your starting point. You have the right to live a life free from financial stress, supported by thoughtful planning, balanced risk taking, and intentional abundance. You have the right. These are your rights as an American in this country seeking to become an accredited investor. You have rights. And I want you to know exactly what those rights are. And I want you to never forget what those rights are because you are an American. You have the right to build wealth and create the freedom and life that you deserve, and you have the right to make sure that you can leave that down to your heirs to make sure that your family is taken care of. Now, in order to get to these things that we spoke about in these rights, we need to talk about this four legs framework first. And this framework is important for anyone seeking to build wealth. But if you are a business owner doing at least half a million in revenue a year, if you are, and even less than that, to be honest, if you are a serious real estate professional or serious real estate investor, this framework works for you regardless of who is in office. Okay, it works for you regardless of who is in office. So let's talk about what these four legs are and what they look like. Notice that this table has four legs. Those legs are leverage, expansion, government incentives, and structure. Okay. Notice how stable the table is. The table is very steady. If you were to remove one of these legs, will the table still stand? It should. Will it be a little wobbly? Yes. But it should still stand. But what happens if you remove two legs? That's a pretty large table. Your business operations are pretty large too. If you remove two of the legs and you only have two remaining, will the table still stand? Good possibility. Will it be super unstable? Absolutely. Will one bump knock it over? You bet your bottom dollar it will. What if you didn't have but only one of these legs? You don't have a business. You don't have operations, serious operations. You have a hobby. That's what I would call a hobby. You must have all four of these legs if you want to not only survive, but thrive, regardless of who is in office. You must have all four. So let's talk a little bit more about what these legs are specifically. The first leg being leverage. How do we maximize your resources and position yourself as an accredited investor? Second, expansion. Through the power of partnerships, joint ventures, and alliances for exponential growth. I grew my firm to over seven figures through the E, expansion. And then I went and made sure that I had the other three in order too. But we got there through the E, expansion. Okay. What about the G, government incentives? How aligning with government priorities can open doors to tax advantages and wealth opportunities. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. And structure. Structure is critically important to optimizing your business operations as well as tax efficiency and asset protection. And if we have all four of these legs, you are now operating like the 1%. And if you act with intention and purpose, you absolutely can get to the 1%. Let's talk a little bit more about leverage. Step one, becoming an accredited investor. Big, big, big thing. I talk a lot about it. I preach it. Everyone, every American should aim to be an accredited investor. If you're already an accredited investor, I want you to aim to add a zero behind your current net worth. So if your current net worth is 3 million, let's add a zero, make it 30. If your current net worth is 10, let's add a zero, make it 100. Okay? Everyone should be aiming to become an accredited investor because it gives you more leverage. What are assets that can be used to help you meet this status? Real estate, retirement accounts, the equity in your business, the equity in your properties. Those are all areas you can leverage. You can also leverage debt. When used correctly, debt can be a very powerful, powerful tool. You know, one of my mentors, he tells this story pretty often, and he tells people whenever he's on the stage, like, I could have been an accredited investor. I just didn't know that that was a thing. I didn't know. And now that I know, I'm making it happen. But I could have been here 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, had I known. And let's take a pause. Maybe this is your first time ever hearing that term, and you're like, what in the world is an accredited investor? So, an accredited investor is a person that meets one or two definitions. There's some others, but they're not widely accepted, okay? But the two primary definitions that are widely accepted is number one, you have a net worth of $1 million. That $1 million is including all your assets minus your liabilities, with the exception of your primary residence. Or number two, if you are a single individual, you earn $200,000 a year. You've made at least $200,000 a year for the past 2 years, and you expect to make $200,000 a year and going into that third year. Or you're married, you have $300,000 in combined income. You had it for the past 2 years, and you expect to have it going into the third year. If you meet one of those two definitions, you can be classified as an accredited investor. And being an accredited investor, number one, again, it is the point that you can create the most leverage to really amplify what you have going on. Number one, but number two, being an accredited investor can get you in rooms and get you at tables that not being one can. It is literally illegal for me to talk about opportunities that are available for accredited investors in an unqualified room. There are so many deals you will never hear of. You want to know how people are able to take advantage of getting these stocks before they go public? They're accredited investors. You got to be accredited. So it is a thing. And it's certainly not much of a thing in more marginalized and disadvantaged communities, and it absolutely needs to be a thing. All right, going back to the presentation, um, for those who are accredited investors, that means you have access to investment vehicles outside of the traditional markets. And those who are investing in those things, they typically, on average, have seen a 28.5% return invested in private markets instead of just a 10.5% return investing in traditional markets. Traditional markets mean this is for everyday people, this is for everybody else. Private markets, accredited investors. You want to be over there in the red, okay? That's exactly where you want to be. Now, we do have clients. Sarah, for example, she's used the equity in her commercial property to prove that she was an accredited investor. She used equity in a property that she owned to prove she was an accredited investor. And within 4 years, she was able to double her investments, the return on her investments because of that. And that was just from the equity in her property. That was not her retirement accounts, money in her checking and savings accounts. It wasn't the valuation of her business, none of those other things, just her equity in her account. What about the Financial Planning Association U.S. Venture Capital Markets Report? Hey, they said over a 25-year period. These are the averages. So it pays to be an accredited investor. It absolutely pays to be an accredited investor. And again, if you don't know what it is, you've never heard of it, if you're watching this on replay, make sure you go back to the beginning and watch it because I did just explain it. But more importantly, if you're watching this on replay or you're watching this because you stream, like you're on YouTube or Facebook somewhere, make sure you register so you can get the bonuses. If you register, you get the bonuses. Then guess what? We have a private training on becoming an accredited investor in our school community. But you got to be on the list to get access. All right. Step two, expand through partnerships. I told you at the very beginning that my I grew my firm to seven figures through partnerships. That was the honest to God's truth. I partnered with a couple of firms that had clients. They had an excess of clients, in fact, could not service them all. And we partnered with them to do quite a bit of that servicing. But guess what? Some of the largest names in the world, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, guess what? They built their wealth through partnerships. They built it through partnerships. And guess what? Even when they couldn't stand who they were partnering with, they knew money was green. And they were able to set aside their differences to go make that money. They did not have to sit at the picnic table together. They did not have to sit at the Sunday dinner table together to go and make money together. They had complementary products and services. They partnered, they created strategic alliances, and they made it happen. There are a few things that I want to tell you about partnerships. Because of our current economic conditions and our political climate, you almost have to get into the world of building partnerships to, again, not only survive, but to thrive. You're going to have to build some kind of partnership. It can be you partner with someone else on a real estate deal. It can be you're creating a joint venture between your company and another company that's offering a product or service as a solution to some company or business in need. It could be just a strategic alliance. It could be a joint venture, right? The key things that I want you to remember is that partnerships are business marriages. You need to plan for the dissolution of that partnership before you're forced to dissolve. Meaning you need to have your paperwork in order and make sure you are not bringing someone on as a partner who should be an employee. Don't do it. You are going to create problems for yourself. You're going to get disgruntled because someone else has equity in the company and they're not working as hard. They are not as committed to you as you are. So make sure you're bringing on the right type of partner. Maybe you can't afford to hire them as an employee, but you really need their skill set. Okay, look into some kind of revenue share option or something along those lines. Some type of deferred payment arrangement. It's just something. But do not give equity away in your company unless you know that this person has the same level of skin in the game and commitment as you. So let's talk a little bit more about how strategic partnerships accelerate wealth. In this example, I won't name the car manufacturer, but a car manufacturer here in the United States partnered with Panasonic to create its battery technology, reducing R&D costs and scaling production faster. Why? Because Panasonic has an entire division dedicated to battery technology, and this particular car manufacturer did not have the time. They probably had the money, but they certainly did not have the time to go figure out how to create this battery when they could just partner with a firm that was already doing that work. And that's exactly what they did. And businesses who use strategic partnerships grow 30% faster than those who operate solo. 30% faster. So, have you ever heard this term? Let me make sure I get it correct. I think the term is it's better to have 50% of a business doing like 10 million than to have 100% of a business doing a million, something like that, right? Yeah. I hope you get the point. I probably really butchered that, but the fact is, we get so enamored with our businesses and our passions and our babies that we do not treat them as the businesses that they are. We are not making business logical decisions. Because guess what? You absolutely can make more money through partnerships and joint ventures. You can take off stress from your plate. You can have a happier, more fulfilling life as long as you have the right partnership in place. And you can make a whole lot more money. But it comes from partnerships. All right. Let's get into these government incentivized investing. Okay. You want to know how the wealthy are able to do what they do. I heard Warren Buffett say one time, you know, based on a percentage, I pay less in taxes than my secretary. Warren Buffett said that. And he's a proponent of, raising taxes. Like he understands why taxes, are a good thing. However, I want everyone who's listening and watching to this presentation to think and act like the 1%. And the 1% is always looking for ways to reduce their taxable income and build more wealth. And that's exactly what happens with government incentivized investing. The top 1%, they are always prepared to take advantage of the next deal. If that next deal is, oh, the government just created a bunch of tax incentives to create affordable housing, guess what? All of the money is going to be funneled into affordable housing. If the government says, hey, we're not in the business of creating oil and more oil reserves, and we need to invest in more alternative energy. So we're going to create a $1 billion tax package just to encourage private investors to invest in this industry. Guess what? That's where the money's going to go. That's exactly what happened with the Opportunity Zone legislation that was created under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act under President Trump's first administration. Opportunity zones were created. This is a massive tax shift, one that we are still paying for in terms of a deficit. And right now, there is over, if I'm not mistaken, there is over 30 billion with a B dollars invested in opportunity zones. 30 billion with the B. And what that means to you, in case you don't know what an opportunity zone is that that money that's invested after a 10-year period, if that pot of money, that 80 billion grows to $8 trillion after a 10-year period, they can sell those investments and walk away without paying a dime in federal taxes. You heard me correctly. A dime in federal taxes. That's what the Opportunity Zone legislation creates. And yes, it was the greatest redistribution of wealth in our most recent lifetime. It absolutely was. It still is. But there is a budget reconciliation bill right now being floated in Congress that is expected to put that 2018 budget reconciliation bill to shame. It's supposed to be 7, 8 times larger. Larger. So if you are not preparing yourself right now to take advantage of whatever comes out of that budget reconciliation bill, because right now it is designed for the uber and top elite 1%. But guess what? There is not a lot that they can do that does not apply to you as well. As business owners and as real estate investors, you just have to know how to scale it down and apply it to your own personal situation. So, if you are not paying attention, know that this is happening. In my opinion, there's not much that's going to stop it. And therefore, you need to get your partnerships in order so you can really take advantage of whatever is getting ready to come down the pipeline. Going back to the affordable housing conversation a little bit earlier, huge, huge issue. We do not have enough affordable housing. At some point, I don't know if it's going to be this current presidential administration or the next, but at some point, they're going to have to address the affordable housing crisis in this country. I fully predict that we're going to see a massive spike in homelessness, particularly as boomers continue to die off. They're dying off. They have mortgages on their properties. Their kids can't keep up with these mortgages. It's, again, an entire trickle down effect. You're going to have a lot of wealth being lost as the boomers pass away because their homes are not paid off, because they took out loans to put their kids through college, which is never advisable. But here we are. So affordable housing is going to be a thing, and we need to be fully prepared to take advantage of it. Excuse me, when those tax opportunities come around. So I did just speak a little bit about the Opportunity Zone legislation, but oh, see, I said 30 billion earlier. It's 75 billion. 75 billion dollars. So what happens if that 75 billion turns into 10 trillion? Again, it's all tax free. It's all tax free. Absolutely insane. All right, let's go into step 4. Structure strategically. So I know there's a lot of conversations around about, hey, how do I structure this particular entity? Or, I got 23 different real estate properties. How do I make sure that I'm properly protected? I got not only these 23 real estate properties, but I also own 5 businesses. Like, how do I make sure that my stuff is in order? The structure is so, so critically important. So critically important. There's three things that we're looking at here. We're looking at the business entity setup, because the type of entities that you have could absolutely directly impact taxation. Number one. Number two, it also impacts estate planning, right? Because we need these things to eventually flow up to trust. And I'm gonna come back to the trust conversation in just a moment. And then, of course, asset protection. We want to make sure that you have a structure that is legally sound, that protects you in the event of frivolous and unnecessary lawsuits. Now, let's come back over here to the estate planning and the trust conversation for just a moment. Of course, I'm pretty sure you've seen so much stuff in the marketplace chatting about, hey, get this kind of trust, get this kind of trust. We do a lot of work in this space. We partner with a lot of attorneys to finalize our structures for our clients, and I'm here to tell you that I can probably count on one hand how often we've used trusts um, that are not. I mean, how often we've used like an irrevocable trust. It's not. We don't use them very often. We use other different types of trusts. Revocable trust is very much a thing. Irrevocable, not so much. And I say that to say, if you are working with someone and they are just, hard pressed on irrevocable trusts, make sure that you're having a conversation with an attorney, and make sure that you're also having a conversation with the tax advisor at the same time, because the tax structure for irrevocable trusts is significantly collapsed compared to the tax structure of you as an individual, i.e., meaning your taxes can significantly skyrocket if you put a business in an irrevocable trust that has $1 million in profits. You're going to pay so much more in taxes than had you just not even had that trust and it reported on your personal tax return. So it's critically important that you understand how these entities and trusts interact with one another and how they should be designed to benefit you. Okay, I'm gonna put the presentation back up on the screen so you can look at it for just a second. But again, make sure that you're having a conversation with your attorney, with your planner, with your tax advisor, to make sure that this structure will hold up and do what you need it to do. There's a lot of conversations about having holding companies, right? These holding companies, I say it all the time. The holding company should be able to hold you up in the event of a lawsuit. That's exactly how you need your structure to work for you. It should be helping you accomplish a few things, helping you from an asset protection standpoint, helping you from a business taxation standpoint, as well as helping you from an estate planning perspective. Okay. Alrighty. So again, very critical for you to understand how these things work and how they implicate one another. Here in this case study, a business owner restructured her LLC into an S corp, saving $15,000 annually in self-employment taxes. This is just one of the things I'm sure you've heard. A lot of people say, get an S corp, get an S corp, get an S corp. I'm here to tell you, S corps do have benefits, but in some states, not so much. You could pay more. So be very careful that when someone is telling you to do something, that they're also looking at the state taxation as well. It's not it's not enough to only look at the federal taxation. You could really hurt yourself if you get something and and I'm actually speaking from experience here. You put a client in something or you get something and that state doesn't really recognize that entity, right? Our team learned the hard way on one particular state, with that. Okay. And so it really doesn't make sense to have S Corps in that particular state for that reason. And had we known, had we had a better understanding of that going forward, and we got a great team, but it was a hard lesson, that we learned. So make sure I'm telling you, learn from me, learn from my team, that is something that needs to be taken into consideration. It's not just your state. It's not just federal taxes, it's state taxes that also have to be taken into consideration when you are thinking about converting over to S Corp. And And make sure you're having a conversation with someone before you put real estate in an S corp. All right, so a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but a map ensures you arrive at the right destination. And that is what I recommend you build. You need to build your map so you can understand where you are currently. I'm at point A, I'm in destination A, and how do I get to destination Z? You need to build a map, and that map needs to include all four of those legs. And maybe you can't include all four of the legs right now, but you can absolutely include three of those legs. You can absolutely work on your structure. You can absolutely work on your leverage. You can absolutely work on those government incentives. Maybe the partnership is the piece that takes a little bit more massaging. You got to get out and you got to network a little bit more. You got to do some things before you can implement that fourth leg. That's fine. But you absolutely, no matter what stage of business you are in, and if you are earning over 500,000 or you're already an accredited investor, there's no reason whatsoever why you should not already be implementing and securing at least three of those legs on that table. No reason whatsoever. Now, according to a A.G. William Domhoff research study, it highlights that wealth encompasses assets like real estate, stocks, bonds, minus debts. And this study was done to show that earned income is important, but it is not the single most important thing to building wealth. And the single most important thing to building wealth is investing in the right asset classes and managing the risk. Managing the risk. Those are the single most important things to building wealth. So let's bring it all together, shall we? Leverage. We got to maximize our assets. We got to become accredited investors. Expansion. We got to build wealth faster. We can do that through partnerships and alliances. Expansion is also a great risk mitigation tool. Great risk mitigation tool. Government incentives. We need to be going where the government is going. If they provide incentives for this, we need to be investing over there. If they provide incentives for that, we need to go invest in that. Doesn't mean you have to put all of your money in those things, but we do need to invest where the government is investing. That is single handedly how you can control your tax bill. Structure. You need to set up your business and investments for protection purposes, for efficiency purposes. All four of these things, all four legs work together for the greater good. All four legs work together for the greater good. All right, good people. So, are you going to be the next person to conquer your finances? Again, this was the Wealth Defense Masterclass. Everything I showed you tonight is to help you defend what you already have. Once you defend what you already have, you got the knowledge, you know what you're doing, you got your structure in place. Now we can go play on the offense. Meaning that no matter which way the market is going, we can position ourselves to make money. Most Americans and most business owners and most real estate investors are not prepared at that level. And that is the level we want you to get to. And that starts with learning more about how taxation works in this country. And that's going to start with the Wealth Up and Taxes Down workshop. This workshop has a few key benefits. Number one, I'm guaranteeing it that you're going to save at least $3,000 in taxes, or you're going to get at least $3,000 of value from this particular workshop. It's called Wealth Up, Taxes Down for a reason. The more you invest in building your wealth, the more you save in taxes and your tax rate plummets. Our average client who is a millionaire investor, they generate over $1 million a year in revenue. They pay less than 16% in taxes. And majority of them, as they continue to matriculate in business, they find themselves in the 10% brackets and the 8% brackets. And we are eventually going to get to that 0% bracket. And if we can't get there, we're going to get very close to it. Number two, how to legally pay almost nothing in taxes. Again, that's just what we were talking about, how the wealthy uses the tax code to their advantage. And I want you to have the same knowledge. Not that I really want you to have the same knowledge. You must have the same knowledge. If your desire is to accumulate massive amounts of wealth, whatever that number is for you, you cannot do that without the tax piece. You just cannot. And it doesn't mean that you have to know every single strategy and all the details. No. You need to know enough to have an intelligent conversation with your CPA and your tax advisor and your money team to make sure that you're being led in the right direction. And that is what this workshop is going to do for you. Number three, we're going to get ahead of these tax code changes. Again, I just told you that in this particular budget reconciliation bill, we are expecting that bill to be 8 times larger than the 2018 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we are still working on. 8 times larger. 8 times larger. So, guys, we have got to make sure that we are positioned to fully take advantage of that. Positioned to fully take advantage of it. And if you're not, you're going to be leaving money behind. It's that simple. You're going to be leaving money behind. Number four, we're going to be talking about how you can stop relying on the government to take control of your wealth. You really cannot rely on anyone but yourself right now. Okay? You must be able to take care of yourself no matter who's in office. You can't rely on your employer. If you own a bunch of real estate, in some cases you can't even rely on your tenants, because if a whole industry is wiped away, and honestly we're kind of seeing some of that right now, you could find yourself with a bunch of empty rentals. Then what? That means you're not diversified enough. So this workshop teaches you how to be self-sufficient. The tax code is not designed to make you rich, but it is designed to help you protect and build your wealth no matter who's in office. No matter who's in office. So this is not for you if you're like, hey, I just really need someone to implement this for me. Like, I trust you, Amelia. Like, I've heard all these things before. I just didn't know who to go to. Hey, this workshop, maybe it's not for you. It's also not for you if you don't have, the time to dedicate 4 hours to getting this knowledge. This is also not for you if you're not ready to implement. This is for the people who are ready to get started right now. They're ready to implement, and they're ready to get things in action. They are ready to see some forward progress, some forward movement. This is not for the people who just like to buy courses and like to just sit on the sidelines and just accumulate knowledge. No, we are in the applied knowledge business over here, okay? Applied knowledge. We are going to be applying everything that we learn. But if you're tired of not fully understanding how these concepts work, maybe you have an awesome CPA. They do a great job of keeping you in compliance, but not so much with helping you be proactive and help you really understand the nuances of all of those tax pages that they send you once or twice a year. This is also for you if you're like, hey, I am committed. I am dedicated to getting to that 1% threshold, to becoming an accredited investor, and I need to know what to do. This workshop is for you. Okay, it is a 4 hour time commitment. It will be on a Saturday, from 11 to 4. So we built in some time for breaks. Again, it is 100% guaranteed or your money back. I am putting my money where my mouth is. And the retail value of this presentation or this workshop is 3,997 because I know you can very easily recoup that 4 and 5 times over. But of course, you will not pay anything close to that today. It also comes with a few bonuses. It's going to come with the Secrets of the 1% Key Financial Data Guide. It breaks down exactly how tax brackets work. You would be surprised at how many people do not understand how tax brackets work. And I am guessing you probably don't either. It is a game changer once you figure out how tax brackets actually work. Number two, you get replay access. You get replay access for a full year of the workshop. The reason why this is not a forever deal is simply because rules change, laws change. We talk about a lot of current information that typically may be not relevant, no longer current after about a year or so. So the replay is only for 365 days, but I promise you, you'll be able to watch it at any point over that time frame, and you'll be able to take another nugget to implement into your wealth structure. In addition, you're going to get the tax free wealth private recorded training. This is a training dedicated just for those who participate in the Wealth Up Taxes Down workshop. It's going to be held in our private community, and it is a deep dive into advanced wealth building tax strategies. You're going to get that training absolutely for free, to take you to the next level. Now, if all this did was gave you the peace of mind that yes, you are finally in the right place, would that be worth it to you? If all this did was help you save three, four, $5,000 this year alone, maybe you haven't even filed your taxes yet. Maybe you're going to request an extension so you can participate in this workshop and then go back to your tax people and say, hey, here are some things that I learned, and it's not too late. I want to implement these things right now. Would that be worth it to you? What if this workshop can turn around and save you an additional 50 or $100,000? Hard cash back in your pocket, meaning Uncle Sam is giving you a check. That happens to our clients all the time. And guess what? We turn around and now that's the down payment for their next property. Would that be worth it to you? Then it's so. You cannot afford to pass this up. It is a completely risk free offer. Again, I'm giving you a guarantee. Total retail value is 3,997. You won't pay anything close to that today. Your investment is $497. $497. You can take advantage of this at the Wealth Up Taxes Down webpage. You can see it down below in the comments. And again, 100% guarantee. Try our framework. If you don't see a way to save $3,000 in taxes, you don't see a way to get that $3,000 in value, let me know. I'll refund you your money, no questions asked. But I know that's not going to be the case because people pay us 50, 100 times more than that to get them the results that I'm going to be sharing in this workshop. So that's how I know how powerful they are. That's exactly how I know. So the path to success is to take massive, determined action. What kind of action? Massive, determined action. And when do we want you to take that action? Now. We want you to take that action right now. Do not delay. Do not wait. When you sign up, we're going to already have some homework for you. And again, if you're watching this live, you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching this on Instagram, you're watching this on Facebook. I can't see your comments right now. But make sure you go to attendthemasterclass.com, register so you can get on the list, number one. Number two, you can get the bonuses. Number three, if you still have questions, we're telling you how to get into the school community, which is absolutely free, so you can get your questions answered. There is no reason why in 2025 your number one focus should not be building wealth. There's no reason why that should not be the case. Sorry, my allergies are kicking in. But I want to leave this behind for you. Wealth is not reserved for a select few. It is built through informed decisions and consistent action. Let's make 2025 your year of financial transformation. I am here to help you. I am here to guide you. I am here to see you through to the end. Again, if you're watching this on replay, make sure that you go to attendthemasterclass.com, register for another class, attend again, get the bonuses. You know, make this your best year ever. I'm certainly committed to doing so. And I know we're seeing just insane changes right now in the marketplace, in the economy, politically. Many people are afraid, don't know what's going to happen, don't know if they're going to falter, going to fall to the wayside. Well, I'm giving you the game plan. In fact, I just laid it out, honestly. If you never listen to another word that I say, this plan will absolutely get you to millionaire status. It will absolutely get you to adding another zero to your net worth. In fact, it could add two. So don't delay. Register now. You must understand um how tax incentives work. Again, you can do that at wealthuptaxesdown.com. Once you do that, then you can add in the wealth piece. You're off to the races. It's on. It's on, like they like to say. Off to the races. So again, wealthhelptaxesdown.com. You won't pay anything closer to $397. You'll pay $497. And again, it comes with that guarantee. If you're not fully satisfied, you don't see a way to get that money back, we're gonna refund you. No questions asked. All right, so let's take a moment to see if there are any comments. I don't see any comments down into the Zoom chat. So if you're watching this live, again, we take those questions, we answer them throughout the week in the school Facebook or school community group. That link is Wealth Insiders School, Insiders with the S School, SCHOOL.com. You can get access to the group that way. We also tell you about it when you register for for the masterclass as well. But again, this was the Wealth Defense Masterclass. We're doing these daily right now because we understand the critical importance of what is happening in our country right now. And we have to make sure that our business owners and our real estate investors are fully prepared for the changes that are happening. Fully prepared for the changes that are happening. We're seeing very volatile changes. The velocity of these changes certainly does not help, and therefore you do not have time to waste. You do not have time to play around. You must take action now, and that action needs to be massive. Thank you so much for attending. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next masterclass, and I look forward to seeing you